Alright, does everybody have their card that they were given when they first came into class? If you've got your card, I want you to look at it. Go ahead and get quiet. Look at the card that you have. At this time, if you were given a red dot, you are going to find a seat at one of these tables, closest to the starboard. If you were given a blue dot, you are going to sit at one of the tables closest to the chalkboard. I want you to go ahead and move at this time. You guys are going to work on this on your own, okay? So make sure you're paying attention. I'm going to move this card just for a minute. Everyone, make sure you can see. If you can't see, let me know. Sincere, can you see? Okay. What do we call this right here? An equation. We talked about that earlier when we went over vocabulary. This is a one-step equation. What kind of an equation problem is it? Multiplication. That's the operation we're working with. You're also going to get a bunch of cards like this with different terms, variables, operations on them. And what we're going to do is we're going to work this problem out. So this, sometimes when we see two numbers touching, what does that mean? When something is touching, it means times, right? So these two numbers are being multiplied together. We talked about the inverse. What would be the inverse of the opposite?
So here we have X
Dividing.
what?
So we're going to look for the card that shows us the opposite. If we multiply by 3, Peyton, we have to divide to balance it out, or take the inverse to balance it out. What kind of problem is it? It's a subtraction problem. If we were to try and do the inverse, find the opposite of a subtraction problem, which card would we look? Very good. We would look for the positive, or +2. And whatever we do to one side, if we add 2, we have to add 2 to the other side, because we have to keep it balanced. That was another vocabulary word we went over. So if these two cancel out, we're left with the variable k, an equal sign, and what is 4 plus 2? Very good. So don't pay any attention to the distractor cards. Your answer is going to be k equals 6. Now, if I were to take the 6 and plug it back in where the k was, is that correct? 6 minus 2 equals 4?
Yes.
That's correct. So I know I did the problem
I
right.
have to add these two numbers.
Oh, it's a
X
fraction.
is equal to 25.
It's a fraction, and what does that mean when we see fractions? That means that we are dividing. So the operation is division. So if we were to take the inverse, or the opposite of divide, which card would we be looking for?
We're going to do a...
We'd be looking for multiply by 5. Whatever we do to this side, we need to do to this side, because we want to keep things balanced. So we know these two are going to cancel out, and we're going to be left with just an h, the variable h,
What do I need to do first?
an equal sign. And what is 1 times 5? Very good. Don't pay any attention to the distractor cards. You know your answer is h equals 5. If I were to take the answer, plug it back in where the h is 5 divided by 5 1? I checked my work. I know that it's correct, and I know that problem's done.
This is division.
So I'm going to ask you guys to do this independently on your own, and you're going to each get a bag. Actually, you're going to get 2 bags, and I want you to work out the problems, and then we're going to be doing some other work after that, okay? All right, so you guys can head back to your seats. I'll bring you bags. You check, what is this called, Sincere? When you take the opposite, what is that word we use? Inverse, excellent. And what is it called when you do it to both sides to keep things equal? Balance. And then what is this right here? Variable, and that's your answer. Excellent. You can go ahead and put yours back in the bag. Excellent. You can go ahead and put yours back in the bag.
All right, pass up.
Excellent.
You guys are working. Here is X minus 4 equals 8. Okay, what do I do first? Draw a ribbon. Now, this time, I'm going to use representations. Okay? My representation will be, how many X's do I need?
4. That's good.
1 X, okay? So here's my representation for X. And What operation is this? This is subtraction,
Sits here?
and I'm subtracting 4. So I need
Sorry, honey.
4 negatives.
There you go.
Doesn't this add up to -4? Okay. What do I need on this side? 8 positives.
And where are you sitting? Right here?
Okay. So now I want to get the x by itself. What do I have to do on this side? Add 4. So I need 4 positives. What do these 4 positives do to this side?
Make it a zero pair.
They zero pairs. They zero it out. So I can match a positive to a negative and zero it out because there's 4 of each. What do I do over here? The same thing. How many positives do I add on this side?
Don't forget, there's gonna be
Okay.
distractor cards.
And what do I have for my total?
Let me come check.
12. So x is equal to 12. Okay? Yes. Right, but we're showing it with representation.
Okay, so.
So you can use pictures, you can use
You took the
whatever you
opposite,
want to use for the
did it on
variable,
both sides.
and you can use whatever you want to use for the numbers, as long as you keep it the same. But you're right, when you do it in the abstract way with the numbers, then yeah, you could just add
Is that the
the
one
numbers.
you want in there?
But we're practicing
Or you
with
just wanna go
representation.
straight?
Okay.
We're just
It's
operation.
a one-step equation, correct?
And what we're gonna do is we're gonna work this problem out.
Previously, we
This-
talked about
several times
drawing
we
what?
see
To
two
separate
rivers
two sides, the
to
river.
touching.
So I'm actually gonna
What
make
does that
my
mean?
river
Something is to touching, it means to
so that the
right?
equal sign is in the middle.
So, these two
That
numbers
way,
are being
we know
multiplied
that the
together.
equal sign needs to
We
follow
talked about
the
the
river, right?
inverse. What would
We
be
wanna
the
keep
inverse
both
of
sides
the
balanced.
opposite?
So here we have x as our what?
So we're gonna look for the
Variable.
card.
There,
that
x
shows
is a
us the
variable,
opposite.
okay.
If we
Now we see,
multiply by
we know we
three
need to keep both sides
on-
balanced.
We have to
But we need to get
divide
the variable by
to
itself
balance it
because
out,
the
or take the
variable
inverse to
wants
balance
to
it
be
out.
by
So if
itself.
we divide on
The
both
variable
sides,
does
we
not
have to
want
divide on the
anything
other
else
side.
on the side with it.
We know that.
The
if we
numbers
divide by
wanna
three,
be on the
we
other
have
side.
one
They don't
G,
wanna be on the
only
side
one
with
G
it.
left. These cancel
So
out,
how do we
and we're left with
get this
just the
variable
G.
by itself?
An equal sign. And what is 15 divided by 3? 5.
Well, this is subtraction, right?
Is everybody going to see these other cards are extra cards?
Right,
Kind
and
of
what, in the
distractors,
vocabulary words
tricky,
that
like
we
you
used
see
this
on
morning,
tests.
what
So
word
don't
did we
pay
use for
attention to
that?
the distractors. I want you guys to work out the
That was
problem.
on the board?
I'm gonna give you
Remember?
another
Begin with an
example.
I. We said inverse, and inverse and opposite means the same thing.
This is
So we want to
probably
take
gonna be a
the
different
inverse
operation.
of this
If you
operation.
look at this
which will
one-step
be
equation, what kind
adding.
of problem is it?
Okay, now to get
It's
across
a
this
subtraction
river,
problem. If
what do we
were
need to do to the other side?
inverse
On the other side.
the
from
same thing we
opposite
did on
of
the first side
subtraction
because we
problem,
want to
look
keep
there and
it
look for the
balanced.
positive or plus 2.
All right?
And
Now
if-
what
however we do
what
the
happens
one
over
side,
here,
We
Savannah?
add to, we have to add to the other side, because we
Go
have
ahead,
to
Mr.
keep it
Bannon.
balanced, that was another vocabulary.
Wait,
word.
which side are you talking about?
So,
The side with the
if
variable.
these two cancel
Okay,
out,
so
we're left
Once
with
you add those
the
two,
variable K,
you go to.
and
what
each
And what happens?
sign,
Okay, what happens
and
when
what
we
is
add
4
these two
plus
together?
2?
I
Very
suppose,
good. So don't pay any attention
These
to
equal
the
0, so we can
distractor
cancel them
part. Your
out.
answer is going to be
Okay,
K.
what do we do with the
equals
x?
6. Now,
Okay,
if I
now
were to take the 6 and plug it back in where the
bring
K
it
was.
down. Okay, now
Is
we
that-
only have x on this
Is
side.
that
Ariana, what happens on this
6 minus
side?
2 equals 4? That's correct, so I know I did the problem.
I have to add these two numbers. And what happens when I
All
add
right, I've
19
got
plus
two more.
5? 24.
Just to show you
Okay.
something. Right.
We follow the river on down.
All right.
We have x is equal to 24.
It's a fraction, and what does that mean?
Okay, everybody good on that? That was easy, yeah.
We are
Thank you.
dividing. So the operation is.
You guys are gonna work in groups of 3, and there should be enough room for 3 groups to work at the same time.
When we take the opposite.
And I want you to show the problems in representations.
We're trying to keep them.
So instead of the numbers, you're gonna use symbols to represent the numbers.
And I'll bring you a different set.
X,
Did you guys figure it out?
x will be equal to, will be the variable,
Peyton, will you collect all the yellow bags?
okay? Positive sign will be positive numbers.
Sincere.
Negative sign will be negative
All the
numbers.
green cards. Peyton's gonna collect all the yellows.
Here's a marker. One of you are in charge of marker. Savannah, Bailey, and Kelly, you guys work together. And
Make sure you guys are working independently.
We're good. Okay. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, so
you guys work together.
so X plus.
And
Am I
stop.
lit?
And I want you to use representation.
So are we just gonna add 12?
You always find equal sign in an equation.
Draw it the way we did it, the way I showed it with positive and negative signs to represent the numbers.
From 0.
And now we have X.
And then
4 times 8. I'll tell you that you did it correctly. You actually got very good. Yes,
that's minus.
What do we call this right here? And if you plug this 8,
Done.
you plug this back up here on the 4.
Remember, you're doing representation.
So you know you did it right.
Okay, so I want you guys to also show it in representational form.
Scared.
Sorry. You know I'm scared. Okay, just like I did on the example.
Oh, okay, so you do the negative.
Right, right.
One more quick. Negative over here. So what is 12? Or a positive 12? That positive. Wait, so. Girl, stop.
Is there any other pen sets? You guys can go ahead and push your cards to the center.
We got, no, it's gonna be negative, because you're taking away. Oh, true.
Okay,